Ooh. Why did I stop using this set? This is so sick. Alright, having another one of these types of videos. I feel like I'm having a weird, this is weird to admit, but like I don't want to say a meltdown, that's so dramatic. Basically, right now, I'm in LA, blue skies, right? But while you're watching this video, I am either there or on my way to London. Novation's having a pop-up shop. I'm going to be doing some of the classes there, but I also have a show while I'm there. I'm tripping out because I do not know what I want to bring. I guess the main things for this is I want to have fun while playing, so I doesn't want it to be too prepared, but I also don't want to take a bunch of stuff with me because I'm going to be flying, especially overseas, and getting checked and all that stuff. So I'm trying to keep my setup as small as possible, but as fun as possible. And I even went to Perfect Circuit today, and I was just like staring at a wall thinking about what to take or what I shouldn't take and all this stuff. But yeah, I figured I'd hit record and, you know, talk it out with you. So let's head to the studio. Oh man. All right, so mess of a studio. It's been a minute since I've been in here. I was on the road for a while, and the last thing I did in here was a photo shoot, which was crazy. I moved a bunch of stuff and I need to completely redo the studio, but that's a video for a whole nother time. So as I was mentioning a few seconds ago, London, traveling far, need a small setup, playing live, want it to be fun, needs to basically fit in a backpack or a small suitcase. Yeah, what do I need, you know? And when it comes to performing live, one thing I've noticed is you can get a lot of mileage out of having a drum machine, a sampler, and a synthesizer, right? So you can do basically, you know, your sampler can be running your stems or stuff that you've made on gear already. That way I don't have to take this out or take this out. I can just have a sample of it being played back on a sampler. Drum machine, that's always good to have on its own because you can just get really familiar with it. One thing I've noticed at Velocity in Seattle, I saw Basek play. And his set was so gnarly, as they all are, but he sticks to one drum machine and he sticks to it because he knows it really, really well, like a true professional, right? So he uses the Tempest and he uses it like nobody else. He's really good at it, knows it in and out, and can perform on it. Not just press play and have it play back, but literally perform it like an instrument. So that's why for this setup for my drums, I'm probably going to end up using Circuit because I just know Circuit like the back of my hand. I've been using it forever. I do kind of regret selling my Analog Rhythm Mark 1 to replace it with the Digitact wherever. Oh man, I lose track of everything. Wherever that thing is, it's somewhere in here. I kind of regret it because that had a lot of potential to kind of be the Tempest to me. If I, you know, like kind of the Tempest to Basic would be the Rhythm to me because I got really familiar with it and it had so many more performative tools than the Digitact does, because the Digitact has some cool stuff but not a ton of cool stuff. So for drum machines, I'm going to use this Circuit. So now we got to think of a sampler. Okay, so as far as samplers go, I have too many, but I honestly don't think you can ever have enough. It comes down to two different ones, right? And it comes down to these two specifically because of their function per, or they're like, you know, basically they're how big they are, how much they weigh, how accessible they are, and how many functions that they can achieve, and how many things they can technically eliminate when it comes to playing live. These two things, Octatrack and the MPC 1000. These two are, you know what, I'm gonna go upstairs. That's where they both are. Don't know what I'm doing down here. All right, so this is the big battle, I guess, right? When it comes to playing live. So I really like using the Octatrack because it serves as a really good mixer, which again is something else I wouldn't have to worry about taking. If I take this, sure, I can run the inputs as basically this, I can run the inputs as well, similar to this, not as much control as the Octatrack, and I can run it as 2 monos, or I can have 2 stereos or 4 monos. So I guess it also depends on how much gear am I taking. If I'm for sure taking my circuit to do drums, that's one thing here, so I only have room for one more thing, right? But this and its ability to remove the mixer from the equation is so good. And let me figure out what the hell's going on outside, because it sounds like somebody's just chopping wood. All right, they must have heard me, because as soon as I stood up, they stopped. But like I was saying, Octatrack is a really good mixer. With this, I might need to take a mixer depending on how many things I want to take. The sequencer in here I think is better than the Octatrack because of its polyphony, as well as all of its notes and the way it changes patterns and all that stuff. And speaking of patterns, the way this thing organizes patterns and banks makes a million times more sense than this does if you try to utilize parts within the patterns, which gets pretty tricky pretty quick, where this is kind of just like a song per pattern if you wanted it to be. So kind of like what I was saying at the beginning of all of this, is it really comes down to like size and how many things I want to take and how much fun I want to have. When I'm playing with the MPC 1000, oh god, it hurts to say this, I'm not having that much fun. I'm really just muting stuff and unmuting stuff, and that's kind of where I want to rely on the drum machine to be the performative tool, and this to kind of be that backing track, for, you know, the lack of a better term. So between these two, the Octatrack is definitely more fun to use than the MPC is, but this is way easier to set up an actual set and go from left to right and actually see where you're going without having to have a notebook, aka a flashlight, to read that notebook in a dark space. And yeah, this is like it feels a little more linear to me, but it allows you to kind of just sit on a loop and stay there for a while, same as the Octatrack. But the Octatrack has so much more fun stuff to do while you're playing and performing. But that also means that if this is the backing track and you're having fun with, you know, your safety net, what if you unhook your safety net and do something weird? Where are you gonna go? Nowhere. You're kind of stuck there with that. So I guess the other big factor here too between these two is I have a live set that I did back in 2018 on this, and I recently used that same set and made a couple tweaks to bring it up to, I guess, my standards today, which are nothing. And I used it in my Seattle trip when I played at that Velocity event. Well, I didn't play at the event, I played the night before. And it was super cool, and I wondered, why the hell did I stop doing this? And if you're curious what that actually sounds like, it's this video here, but I stripped it down to where it was just Octatrack, my modular, and a circuit. 3 things, and it was beyond fun. And that's already on here. If I wanted to do something on this, I would have to transfer a lot of the sounds and stems and loops from here onto here and rebuild it, which I can stop complaining, and it would probably take about a day or 2, but still it's like, this boring work. So which one am I going to choose when it comes to these two? Oh damn, that's a little heavier too. This is kind of what I would been hitting people up about, wondering and asking, is what's more important, a synth that's going to be sequenced and you have some fun with the synthesizer with this, or just samples of a synthesizer that you can then further tweak if you wanted, or and have some fun with it, right? Because if I take this, I want to put chords in here that will play another synth. Oops, sorry, plant. Play chords on another synthesizer. But if I take this, I don't want to have to do anything with its MIDI sequencer, especially it being an entire page away and then flipping everything that I'm doing and just, you know, decapitating all access to my MIDI channels, my audio channels quickly. Here, they all kind of commingle. Here, it's this or that. You have to keep flipping back and forth between the pages, and that gets annoying really fast, especially if you don't have an external MIDI controller to control some of the other parameters on this regularly and quickly and instantly. Oh man. You know what? I'm gonna take the Octatrack. I'm gonna do the Octatrack. I have my set on there. It makes sense to me. The other thing too about taking the MPC, I feel weird not doing drums on it if I take it to just do like synth data stuff. So this, I built the set around it. This kind of accompanies my set because it's also a mixer and playing back some stems. So I'm going to do the octatrack. It's going to be my sample playback as well as my mixer. I'll have circuit to do drums, and then I just need something to do bass lines, and I'll sequence that from circuit. Oh, this works perfectly. So remember that set I was mentioning, the 2018 one? On circuit, do I have it here somewhere? Yeah, here it is. On circuit, I have, do I have power? Can I plug this in real quick? My life's a mess, by the way. So check this out. On circuit, I have, if I go here, this is 8, 9, 10, 11 songs already on here. If I go to synth 1, those, oops, I'll turn the volume down. Those notes, those are the baseline notes that go with tracks 1 through 11 on here. So the great thing with this is I just have the MIDI data already written, and I just got to find what synth I want to plug this into. And I want to take a mono synth with me that's small, and that's a whole other equation. So far, boom, drums, mixer, sample playback, sequencer, because this sequencer is way better than the octatrack one. Fight me if you want. This thing's dope when it comes to sequencing. And now I just need something to plug these MIDI notes to. And yeah, what do I want for that? All right, so mono synths, it's coming down to 4 mono synths, and I just had a chat with my friend Somi, who's just getting into producing, and she was asking about the Siren versus a TB3. And oh my god, this thing is disgusting. I'm sorry, Moog. And that's an interesting question, right? Because they can technically both be used in the same song. This could be the supporting kind of backing big bass line, and then you got some more melodic, ear-catching, earwormy type of acid line going on top. So they kind of serve the same purpose in a sense, but they're kind of different. And the 4 that it's coming down to for me is the Moog Siren, my mini modular, the O-Coast, which sounds really good and is tiny, in case you haven't noticed that before, and my Avalon bassline, which is, I'd say a little smaller than my little mini modular setup. I'm leaning heavily towards the Siren because it just sounds so damn good, especially on a system. And the other big factor between all of these is that this has program changes. So instead of having to rely on just changing knobs and hoping that I land on something that works with the song, I can make bass patches that I do know work with the song and then mess around with their notes and their patterns more versus just spending time trying to make the same bass sound not sound the same, if that's even correct. So I'm leaning heavily towards the Siren just because it has the program changes. I can jump through program changes. And look at this. There's like almost no menu diving. It's literally, I mean, I guess none of them have menu diving. None of them have screens, right? Yeah, none even have screens. Does Avalon have a screen? No, it doesn't. The immediacy, that's one thing I like. So on top of circuit being very playable and me having a lot of fun with that, my filter's always here, my release is always here, my tuning's always here, my volume, LFOs, what the wave shapes are, they're all right here. Super small, dedicated, right here. This thing is sharp as hell. They almost slit my wrist wide open the other day using this thing. And the O-Coast sounds really good. I wish it had a filter. I totally understand why it doesn't, and I appreciate that it doesn't, but I mean, a man can wish, right? I wish it just had a filter to kind of bring it down, and I know I can just kind of go over to the quieter side versus the overtone side, but I don't know. But it sounds really good, and it's very unique. I think this would be something more along the lines of what I would like to sample into something like the octatrack, and then maybe have a song where I don't use this and this sound comes out. But then, what's the point of that? Because I don't have a lot of the control over it. And same with the modular. I did the past 2 or 3 shows with this thing, and it has served me well. I love this thing. It's so much fun, but it's heavy as hell and it's huge. Well, it's not. It's small, but again, when it comes to exploring sounds and doing unique things with it, I love it, and I appreciate it, and I appreciate the mindset that you enter when using a modular synthesizer. But I would love to just make like just like a sample pack or something of just like loops and stuff that I come out with this thing, and just track them onto the Octatrack and have them live there and pull them up whenever I need it. Not so much trying to make that live. This can be very playable and very simple, but then you're like, okay, why am I just driving a Ferrari, 30 miles under the speed limit when I could really be doing so much more? But that's also crafting and manipulating and sculpting sounds that you don't want to be doing on stage. When you come to the stage, you just want to make people dance, you want to make people move, make them feel something. And the thing you don't want them to feel is, maybe I should go get another drink, maybe we should go outside and smoke, or just leave. You don't want to make people leave. You want to keep people there. That's your job. That's your point, your purpose, right? To make people enjoy what you're doing. So with that being said, using this live is fun, but I'm only ever doing so much with it because I need to keep it interesting. And something like the Moog Siren will actually allow me to just hit a button, jump over to the next patch, and boom, new sound. It works. It sounds good. It's a Moog. Yeah, so between those, and I guess I didn't really touch base on the Avalon. The Avalon is incredible and it's awesome. And like I was mentioning when I was talking to Somi, that is the main focus of the song whenever I use it, as opposed to an ingredient. With this isn't the first thing I make. With the Avalon, it's the first thing I make, and then I make a song around it. So this I can inject into more songs than I can the Avalon. But the Avalon is really fun, really performative as well, and you can do some fun, cool stuff on there, especially once you get used to it. And same with the TB03, sounds good. I don't know about the little touchscreen one, TB3 or whatever it is, but their little digital clone's not that bad. But I think I'm gonna do this. All right, Moog. Don't let me down. This is going to be my first time, I think, playing live with the Siren. All right, let's go plug this up and see how it sounds. Let's see what my old set sounds like. Right, Frida? Old set? You want to hear the old set? Remember Frida? She's still alive. Frida, do you want to listen to me? She probably just wants to go back to sleep. Am I breaking your back? Is this animal cruelty? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Frida. Do you like synthesizers? You want a synthesizer? Frida, you want to turn the filter frequency down? You want to turn it off? You want unquantized recording? That's a good girl. Get out of here. Yo, this setup is dope. I've been jamming for way too long. The sun's already set. I should have been filming that whole time. But anyway, it works. Everything works the way I expected it. I was too lazy to go grab another one of these adapters downstairs, so I'm going MIDI out of circuit. So this is master clock into the Octatrack and then through into here. So all of this is on MIDI channel 1. In the project of the Octatrack, I just turned all the control off. The channels, they're all off. That way, none of this messes up any of the channels I got going on here. And all my notes and all my tracks still work. Check this track out. Got all my fading stuff. I could possibly even borrow one of these in the UK because I'll be at the Novation office, so they better have an extra one. You better hear me, you better have an extra one. And I can just take the SP with me. So then there's this pattern. Yes. Let's throw some little reverb on this. Bring this down. Got my mutes right here, little high pass. super sick. Of course, I got to do some gain staging kind of things with this whole setup, but it works. We can go jump to another track. So let's say I want to go to track 5. Right, so now we're on track 5. And this is pattern 2 bars? No, so we're good. And then, yeah, switch over to track 5 here. I'm not used to that because I'm used to this being slave, not master. There's another track I got coming out on this record label called Low. Of course, I got the bass line redone by my friend Ebo, aka Captain Supernova. Oh man, this is gonna be so much fun. Yo, this siren just sounds good no matter what you do. Right there, that bass line. Boop, 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 boop. Switch it up. It's really easy to get carried away with this thing. Yep, we're in the club. Anyway, it works. Drums, I can do something weird. Maybe duplicate that pattern here. Take that kick out. Do some like. Yeah, that's dope. Switch it back up. Anyway, yeah, drums, bass, sample playback, and mixing capabilities. This setup is powerful. I'll probably bring the SP with me so I have some more stuff to do, but you can already tell I'm getting carried away with this thing. Let's jump to another track. This can go one of two ways. It can go really good or really bad. Let's see what track 3 is. Alright, so then I'll just mute the bass line, right? This is track 3, it filters down. And then track 3. Dope. And then that bass line came in. Oh man, this is gonna be sick. What's this down octave? This kick needs to be different. Overdrive. There it is. Oh man, I am just grooving over here. This is dope. Oop, too low. And then let's see if YouTube won't pull this sample. Yeah, I love this track. So there's no bass line in this because I'm utilizing the bass line in the sample. Why did I stop using this set? This is so sick. Yeah, there's nothing here. Is there? Let's see. Ooh, that is ugly. That's the bass line from the previous track. My bad. I'm gonna go ahead and erase that.
this video's probably gone on way too long. That's gonna be the live set in LNDN, aka London. Wish me luck. If you're in town, swing by the pop-up shop. I'll be there. It's in Shoreditch. I'll be hanging out for the week. And yeah, anyway, until next time, you already know the drill. Share the love, share the knowledge. Knowledge is power. Peace.